Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? In the back, can you hear me in the back? Okay, perfect. So we could go ahead and get started. But first, I would just like to thank Saik'uz First Nation for welcoming us into the territory today, and again express our gratitude for the opportunity to present and speak to community during your annual General Assembly. It's great to be back in community, meeting people face to face again, to have this open dialogue. As shown on the slide there, we are with Coastal GasLink, and we're here to present to the community on the project. So, perfect. So we do have you for the next 30 minutes, so we'll try to be very mindful of time. I do appreciate that we're standing in the way of your dinner, so in attendance today we have myself, Brody Garbett. I'm the Indigenous Engagement Lead for Saik'uz First Nation and Coastal GasLink. Just a bit about me for those of you that I haven't met. I'm from the north. I was born in Fort St. John, raised in Moberly Lake, from a nation just outside of Chetwynd, British Columbia. I started working on the project in January of 2019, and more specifically been working with Saik'uz First Nation since February of 2021. Also in attendance somewhere in the room, we have our team here, Greg Stefanishin, who's with our ILCE group, standing for Indigenous and Local Contracting and Employment. And also in attendance, we have our Amy Thompson, who is Education and Training Advisor. Some of you we might have met because we were here during the career fair back in February of 2021. Or 2022, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Very brief agenda listed there, right? We'll do a quick project overview, a bit of a project update. We'll go over the project agreement, discuss things like the Liaison Committee, community meeting, and then we'll pass it over to Greg to do the ILCE and employment, and then Amy will speak to the education and training update.
This kind of thing has not been done before, certainly in this country, perhaps this continent. So the challenges that these folks are running across as they build this pipeline are ones that they haven't seen before. These are extraordinary people, and they're doing extraordinary things.
Pipe delivery may sound easy, but it's very challenging considering the magnitude of this project.
By the end of this year, we'll be close to 70% completion of the construction for the station.
We have over 600 watercourse crossings, and we have lots of different environmentally sensitive areas that we have to make sure that we're paying attention to.
The team did a wonderful job with our contractors, putting together the COVID management plan and really executing on it.
Just what's happening in our community because of them. I think it's really, our future has changed.
Innovative, starting a program that didn't exist before, and this is our home, this is our territory, and we'd like to be a part of it.
Supporting and helping and working with the pipeline is benefiting people in the nation, and not just in the nation, in the communities.
Replacing topsoil, seeding, planting. We're on the forefront of project completion.
It's like, I guess, a sunrise almost industry, having the pipelines, the LNG coming here in our neck of the woods. So it's going to bring good stability for decades to come.
It's exciting to think about the journey that's going to take us to the end of this, and it's really exciting to think about that day where we're going to turn the gas on. That's what we're working for, so let's go do it.
Okay, I'll try this again. Okay, just jumping into the project overview. The video should have been a bit of a giveaway, but by a show of hands here in the room, who knows what Coastal GasLink project is? So you've heard of it, or you know kind of what the project entails at all? Okay, we got a few. We have some swag to give away. You know, more hands. You might receive some. No, there we go. We got one there. Okay, so what the Coastal GasLink project is basically all the means for the facilities and activities associated with the development, the construction, operation, for the maintenance of the project components until project completion. The pipeline component of the project will be approximately 670 kilometers in length with a diameter of a nominal pipe size of 48 inches or about 4 feet or 1.2 meters. The pipeline itself will transport sweet natural gas from the Groundbirch, BC, just in between Chetwynd and Dawson Creek, and it will transport it to the LNG facility, export facility in near Kitimat, BC. The approved corridor is shown on the map there. So again, starting in Groundbirch and making its way to Kitimat. You can kind of see it's broken up into sections 1 through 8. You can notice that there's green check marks for those sections that have been completed. A few folks spoke to it earlier, Jason, Barry, but you know, as per the July construction update, our overall progress sits at about 66%. Realistically, more like 70%. And, you know, and again, just noting, we have reached mechanical completion in some sections. So more specifically, in the nation's territory, we'll show or highlight section 4 and 5. So what's shown here, it's kind of a bit of a zoomed in. You can kind of see where we are, Vanderhoof just down below. Section 4 mechanically completed, and it consists of about 93 kilometers, which is located north of Prince George, and basically ends just north of Vanderhoof there. Yeah, the prime contractor being Somerville Acon, or commonly referred to as SA Energy Group. Some other things to note on the legend here are, you know, obviously the project route or the corridor. The green dots identify our workforce accommodations. And then the blue diamonds represent storage areas where we store construction equipment or pipe itself.
Where's the compressor station?
The compressor station, there's only one compressor station in phase 1, which is at the Wild Lake processing facility. So that's at KP0, which starts off in Groundbirch. If you're referring to, Barry spoke about additional compressor stations, that's during phase 2 of the project, which we have engaged on a bit until we had the reins pulled on us from our client until they reach their FID, which is the final investment decision to basically greenlight that extra compression and capacity in the pipeline.
Where would it be?
Where would it be? Okay. So just right where it crosses Highway 27, that's tentatively where it would be located. So yeah, when you're heading north on Highway 27, just on your right-hand side there. Okay, moving into section 5, moving west, so more towards the coast, which consists of about an 80-kilometer spread of pipe that runs north of Vanderhoof, just south of Burns Lake. You'll notice there the performance at a glance is all tracked because this is still under active construction. You know, performance or percentage complete of certain work fronts, including the clearing and the falling, the grading, the percentage of pipe that's installed, includes activities from stringing and through backfilling. So stringing is just the hauling and the alignment of the pipe for welding, and then the lowering and backfilling to follow. Another key thing to notice, the difference between section 4 and 5 is the prime contractor, which is Nodley Macro. Map legends are the same. You know, the project route is shown, workforce accommodation. You can see here a Little Rock Lake Lodge. Some of you might have seen it when traveling to, it's right on the north side of the Highway 16 there, just outside of Fraser Lake. Just moving into the project agreement between Saik'uz and Coastal GasLink. So the agreement was signed, you know, about 6 years ago. The agreement both provides Saik'uz, you know, and Coastal both short and long-term economic and other benefits, and it reflects the desire for both parties to work together collaboratively through the life of the project. So what's in the agreement, you know, there's terms and references on the development of the Liaison Committee, which Cassandra spoke to a bit earlier. Talks about project scope, financial considerations, contracting, employment, confidentiality. Now, the people that manage the relationship between the parties or between the nation, Saik'uz, and the company being Coastal GasLink is the Liaison Committee. So the Liaison Committee serves as a forum for regular communication and information exchange between the parties until the project is complete. Saik'uz and CGL appoint 2 to 3 representatives to monitor and implement the programs and initiatives outlined in the project agreement. So that said, as of December 31st of 2021, that is your current list of the Liaison Committee members from both Saik'uz First Nation and Coastal GasLink. So Cassandra Turbide, Jason Alexis is on the Liaison Committee for Saik'uz First Nation. From CGL, Brody Garbett, myself, Jill Salis, and Stuart McGregor. Almost through most of the dry stuff here, folks, but you know, the purpose, again, we spoke about it, but there are some rigid commitments in the project agreement itself. For example, the Liaison Committee must meet twice a year in Vanderhoof. After each of those meetings, the Liaison Committee prepares detailed meeting minutes, and we provide those minutes to Saik'uz and CGL leadership with all progress matters, concerns, and actions related to the project agreement. You know, in addition to the reporting requirements from the meeting minutes, the Liaison Committee prepares something that's called an annual report that summarizes and evaluates activities under the agreement for the prior calendar year. And, you know, we present and discuss with the community. Here we are. So the video that we showed did a great job of kind of highlighting our 2021. But, you know, we've completed the construction of the Kitimat meter station. We've opened 2 of the last 12 workforce accommodation. You know, the Stewart River Bridge decommissioning. Barry spoke about equity. You know, we completed the Murray River water crossing, which is in Work Pack 1, which was the largest on the project. And just speaking to some of the legacy, you know, As of December 31st, 2021, over $1.2 billion in contracts to local Indigenous and non-Indigenous business have been awarded on the project. Also, just continuing the legacy across the project, there's been about $1.4 million donated to local organizations in 2021 alone. That's my time. I'll pass it over to Greg, who will provide the Indigenous and local contracting and employment program update. That's the next slide.
Thanks. Well, hello. My name's Greg Stefanition. I'm the ILCE rep for WorkPack 2, and also I'm heading up the Employment Continuity Program. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So what the program is we started this back in January. We ended up listening to a lot of the nations, and they had concerns about what happens when the project finishes in our area. Well, in this particular case, I know Jason sort of asked me, what are we doing to help people transition out? And we had nothing. So we sat down and looked at this and thought, hey, there's a really good opportunity here to keep people employed on the pipeline that have been working, that are experienced, and keep them flowing through. We just need to redistribute them if they're willing to move along the way and keep their jobs. So we started doing this, and Jason and I have been working very closely together in this, and we communicate back and forth probably weekly on the people that are unemployed and that we can get them postings and get them in. Unfortunately, some jobs, they're just done. They're not going to continue to move on to different areas, but other ones do. So a lot of the labor positions, a lot of the equipment operator positions are still very active in some of the other areas. And those are some of the people that we're looking for. There are also people that we're trying to get some of the other primes to bring along and to promote and to get them going so that they have better transferable skills, so when the project ends that happens. In this time as well, because we all know this is a project and eventually at some day it's going to be over, we're working on a transition list that we can help people get the resources they need, go to get direct connections with who they need to talk to that will really help them gain future employment, and of course work through with some of their transferable skills. So one of the key features with our employment continuity program is we're not really an employment agency. We don't guarantee employment when people enroll. We simply work as that liaison between the primes, people like Jason, and the people that are unemployed to try to get the focus put on their skills and their resumes and present them in a good way. So hopefully we can keep things rolling for them in that respect. So basically how it works in a nutshell is we have the community, the individual, the contractor. The individual is directed to contact me. Then we process them through our system. And a lot of that is just getting their resumes together, finding out if they're willing to look at other areas where they're willing to move, and we continue to process them through, and then we take action. We action those out to the different primes that are out there. So sometimes they may get calls from 2 or 3 primes at one time, depending on where they're at in their hiring process. But we also follow up this with them, and we try to work out if there's barriers that are keeping them away from getting that position. We try to work through those barriers with them and the primes to get them up there again. So as of December 31st, 2021, there were 73 resumes received from Saik'uz. 11 were hired, 11 were not qualified, 3 were unable to contact, 1 offer declined, and we have another category of 17 that didn't get through. That may be because they didn't get through the onboarding process, which is, again, a little on the rigorous side, but it is a pipeline, and we have to be cognizant that there's a lot of safety concerns and everything else, so they have to be able to get through that section. With our program, though, we do help, or at least the primes are starting to help to assist people. They're not just leaving them on their own.
Thanks, Greg. I just want to acknowledge within my role, I'm the Education and Training Advisor for the Coastal GasLink project. So I work with all of the Indigenous communities across the entire project and support education and training initiatives. One person can't do it all. And so I want to acknowledge the work of your education and training team, the folks in your employment department, Jason, Alexis. They take a lot of time to work together with me, to share with me information about the priorities and needs and interests of the community members. And just want to note that there were a number of questions about employment as well as what kind of training is being offered. So I would describe the education and training strategy of the project sort of at 3 levels. So one is that we have sort of education legacy initiatives, and those would be bursaries and scholarships that we fund for members of your community. So there are members of your community who are attending UNBC who have received scholarships or bursaries. There are members of your community who could be attending anywhere in British Columbia who've received scholarships or bursaries from the TC Energy Scholarship Program, as well as from New Relationship Trust. And we're constantly monitoring these initiatives to see what the uptake is and where the interests are. So one of the things that we just completed our intake for the New Relationship Trust scholarships. There were a number of bursary and scholarship applications from your community. So we're going to be reopening that agreement and expanding the funding to support those students. And part of that program is that I actually, because we do offer summer student initiatives or work experience initiatives, and of course down the road we have operations roles when the project goes into operation as the construction is completed. I keep track of everybody in that program that we've supported and stay in touch with them and make sure that they hear about the job opportunities and have access to things like summer student jobs or mentorship opportunities and things like that. So that's the first sort of pillar of our education program. Another piece of it is the training to employment. So there's a few different things that happen on this project in order to support employment. Number one, I work quite closely with Pignata. I used to work for Pignata prior to coming over to this project. So I work quite closely with Pignata to support training initiatives that are made available to Saik'uz, and that would be often in the form of a cost share. So when Jason mentioned the oiler training, that was with one of the unions that works on the project, and we helped fund some of the people to attend that, as well as some equipment operator training. Whether the person decides to come and work for Coastal GasLink or Artemis Gold, that's not my concern. Certainly if they want to work for Coastal GasLink, we'll make the opportunity available and connect him to Greg. But my role is to just increase the skills and education of people in the territory and help them become more employable and achieve some of their career or life goals. So we work with the unions on the project to support training as well. Last year we ran oiler training actually on site in the community. We've worked with the prime contractors to support training initiatives, so on site, so people have an opportunity to actually go stay in one of the workforce lodges, see what that work is like before they decide to take the leap and come and work for a project like this. And it gives them the leg up once they're employed on the project because they're already familiar with the work and some of the leadership on the project and who their supervisor is. So that's a big part of our training to employment initiative. Once someone becomes employed on the project, Everybody participates in a Green Hand program, which is delivered by the prime contractor. So Greg talked about how the prime contractor is usually the employer for people. They usually are unions, and they offer at least 3 months of mentorship and on-the-job training to people. And if somebody starts out and they're in a role that, you know, they decide they don't really like, they can speak to their supervisor, ask for new training, and if there's a need to support that training and provide funding, then I'm available to work with people on that and support their training. Some of the other things that we've done, I don't know if you remember in the video, somebody collecting frogs. We worked with Cly Ventures to provide some training on amphibian salvage, and we're also working on providing some training for folks from your community that want to take part in the reclamation work on the project. Because the project will be working directly with First Nation contractors and partners to complete that work, and so we want to provide opportunities for individuals from your community to take part in that and see that. A couple of the other programs that Greg mentioned in his presentation, the CWAA program and the CMCL program, your community has a monitor, a construction monitor that works directly on the project with environmental inspectors and observes every aspect of the project. And part of my role is to support the training of the monitors, so I also contribute to training initiatives for the construction monitors. So just at the end of 2021, we did an erosion and sediment control lead certification, which is a provincially recognized professional certificate. So, you know, if Howie decides he wants to stick with the project, he's got a credential that's recognized. He can also observe some of the work that's being done from a different perspective, as well as take that on to future work. So that's an example of some of the training initiatives that we have delivered. I was really excited to hear Jason talk about some of the funding that he got for supporting entrepreneurs, because we actually just will be announcing a new program to support training of entrepreneurs. So if there's anyone in your community that's interested in becoming an entrepreneur, or that is an entrepreneur that wants to do some professional development, please reach out. We will be offering training. All of the information will be shared with Jason and your education and training team, and then they often share that out to the community through their Facebook page. All right, thank you.